We're here today with the RC News with Jason Cole. What's happening, Jason?
What's going on?
And Kevin Petrilla. No, not Petrilla, Petrilla.
There you go. That's it.
So if you're wondering, Jim, you've worked with Kevin so long, how do you not know how his last name sounds? Well, we've only worked together via the internet. So, Kevin, how are you doing today? And thanks for joining us.
Doing really well. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So, Kevin's on because he's reviewed for us forever. He's done an amazing amount of airplane reviews. How long have you been reviewing for RC Groups?
My first review published in September of 01. And I couldn't tell you how many I've done since then. I do have a page that is linked off of RC Groups that includes most of the reviews. They're not all there, but most of them are.
Right. And when did you start? How old are you? Do you mind saying? You don't have to tell us if you don't want to.
No, I'm 51. I started flying in about 93.
Okay.
How'd you get started?
So I was at Ohio State here, and with my brother, who's also there, and we were just kind of looking for some stuff to do on the side. We had other hobbies. He was golfing. I wasn't golfing at that point, but we'd always want to get into RC airplanes. And he just one day said, let's swing by the hobby store and pick something up. So we went to the hobby store and we picked up a glider and we built that glider, and we went to the local park and we just hand chucked the glider for days on end, and we taught ourselves how to fly. That was it.
That is a great way to learn to fly. I mean, it won't help you with takeoffs, but it's great with landings and learning how the wind works and control surfaces and all that stuff.
I mean, 2 out of the 3 guys on this call learned how to fly on gliders. That tells you something right there.
Well, I want to say my first airplane, I was given a motor by my father-in-law. It was a Torpedo 40 from like 1939. And I could get it started, but it would always flame out during the flight. So I was forced to learn how to land dead stick like almost every time. And I really believe learning to land that way forced me to become a much better pilot than if it had never happened.
Yeah, it helps for sure. Yep.
So what's your favorite kind of, you start out in one part of the hobby and then you do something like I did profile planes forever. And then about 5 years in, it's time to figure out what's next. So where have you progressed to at this point?
So started with gliders. And then after gliders, we went to just trainers flying, actually not even at the local field. We had another friend who had told us, we're in Central Ohio, who told us about flying down to Dayton. So we went and actually flew at Wright State off of a gigantic parking lot, just because there wasn't as many rules. And the guys were a little bit more relaxed there. So we started there just kind of teaching ourselves how to fly with a trainer after we had put the glider under our belt there and had mastered that pretty well. And then from the trainer, went to electric. And I think 99 was when I first started electric. I still had some glow stuff. I had, super sportsters and biplanes and some odds and ends, things like that. But as soon as I got the electric bug, I would say within the next 4 years, I just kind of released the other stuff, sold it all off at local swaps and things like that, and just started focusing on mostly on electric. Mostly at first electric, just speed 400 type stuff, because back then when I started electric, lipos weren't around, and we had an 8-cell NiCad and nickel metal hydride packs and speed 400s, and one of my first planes was a Sokol Pylon Racer. I had a Jim Ryan Bearcat, which was amazing. Jim Ryan's got some amazing kits. I still think he's putting some stuff out. And then I started in EDFs, which back then weren't as much fun as they are now. I started with a Kyosho T33 that I'd recovered and flew it, brushed for a while. And then after, I would say maybe a year or so, I converted it to, back then, which was pretty far advanced, an Aviox motor on zapped nickel metal hydride cells back in the day. So
let me ask. Were you on RC Groups kicked off in 96? Were you getting any intel off of RC Groups to help with your electric flight back then?
I was. So I joined RC Groups in '99, and what I did is I just went to a lot of local events. I went to Mid-Am. Azar used to have some events local to me, so I used to go to Azar's events down here.
Remember that?
RIP Azar.
Yes, and around here in Springfield, and some other events that I just went to kind of get some knowledge, and it was kind of eye-opening at that point. The first time I saw Keith Shaw fly something that had tons of power compared to some of the stuff I was flying, I knew, I'm like, okay, like we can actually make something electric fly really well. As soon as I saw Keith flying his stuff.
Keith was such a huge icon in the early electric days
Oh,
that
yeah.
the first time I ever saw him at Toledo Trade Show, I was afraid to talk to him, you know, because to me, he was just kind of the guy. And his airplanes weren't just, they didn't just fly well. They looked amazing. They were works
Yeah,
of
he
art.
designed his own stuff. I mean, you know, not only was he converting stuff and flying electric, but he was designing his own airframes, and his stuff looked amazing, as you said. Yeah.
So Kevin, as the guy that handles like managing the reviews on RC Groups, I know you as the jet guy. So what is it about EDFs and jets that you love so much? And then which one would you say was your favorite?
Well, the reason I really like jets is that my father was in the Air Force for 25 years, and we traveled. I lived in 13 different states before I was 21. So he was a staff meteorologist. We were in the Air Force traveling around, and I got to see a lot of aircraft, mostly jets on the Air Force bases. And so from early on, I just kind of got the bug, and I always just kind of gravitated towards jets. So I knew as soon as I could, you know, at the time that I started flying and when I got into electric, I knew that, you know, kind of the glow ducted fans were a little bit out of my reach. But as soon as I saw that the electric ducted fan stuff was more reasonable, and even though it wasn't, you know, didn't have as much performance at that point, even though as soon as I saw that I could fly a jet on electric, I knew that, you know, that's kind of how I wanted to gravitate towards that.
Nice.
When
and then
Hobby
your
Lobby
favorite
came out,
jet? Sorry, Jim.
My favorite jet. I've got a BVM Electra that I really enjoy flying.
Yeah.
I also have a BVM Electric Sabre. And then, you know, just kind of some of the things that I throw into the car if I'm just going to a field for a quick trip is now the Sabre that's behind me. And then I have an old Habu 32 that was the glass fuse and wing version. That was actually a review for RC Groups.
Yeah.
And I'm still flying that thing. I've upgraded the power system, but yeah, that was
awesome.
Probably 14 years ago. And I still have that review plane and still flying that plane.
That is amazing. Just that everything's still together, you know?
Yes.
I remember Mike Hines was bringing out the EDFs at Hobby Lobby, and we took the Huckbine to the Catskills. What was that show? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Tom Hunt's
Ram. No, not Ram.
Neat Fair.
Anyway,
Neat Fair.
Tom Hunt, Neat Fair. And he would fly that Huckbine in those mountains, you know, and it would just echo off those hills. It was just so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the MiG version of kind of those kits, and actually, I did the review on RC Groups for the Sabre that they had as well. So those were good flying planes back in the day, and they were pretty impressive
and really good looking.
Yeah.
So just to give you a little visual, you, the listener and the watcher, this is a recent FMS EDF jet 80 millimeter. I'll let you speak on it. Kevin, anything you want to talk about in this review?
Sure. I think what people see when they see a review online is, I guess, well, first of all, they're used to seeing kind of the influencer, the video, the unboxing, that kind of stuff. And I think with an online video, you get a chance to kind of just sit with it, you know, and really look over the stuff that's there. There's a lot there for putting a review together that's online like this. It really does take more time than putting a video review together. There's multiple, pictures, videos, sizing everything, getting everything right, putting the logos in there, and editing yourself for copy so that when people read it, it makes sense. And including as much as you can to make it relevant, but not including everything that you're just going step by step. But I tend to try to include as much as I can without kind of going overboard. I've I have received a lot of kind of feedback over the years that people do like to, go back and visit the reviews, because if something happens or if they're not quite sure on how something goes back together, they'll go back and look for the specific section on how to do that. So again, it does take quite a bit of time to do a written review that also includes pictures and also video at the end. So from the time I received this airframe until the time the review published was 2 months.
Yeah.
And I think when people think, oh, I want to be a reviewer, I think all they see is the free plane. And let me tell you something, folks, it is not free. And not only do you have to think about how you're doing it, you have to think about it in the order. Because if you miss a photo of something that you can no longer access once you move past a point, there's nothing you can really do. So you have to be really smart going into the review.
Absolutely.
And it is important, though. I remember, like, before RCGroups, before I was an employee and just a hobby guy, I would look at the reviews because they had some of the best reviews out there. If you're interested in an airplane, you kind of want to know more about it besides just what the marketing material is.
The specs.
So the reviews on RCGroups just gives you so much more information and detail and how the build process goes and what maybe the flaws are that you need to look out for. It's just invaluable, and that lasts forever. Like, you go sell an airplane, 10 years later, and you're like, oh, I wonder what the CG was on this. I don't have the manual. And you go to the review, and you have all the information you need right there.
Or Jim, you mentioned that, like, people see that, reviewers are getting free airplanes, and that's mostly the case. Not all the time, but mostly the case. But again, what you mentioned is what they don't see is what's going on behind the scenes. So, for instance, this is a $500 airplane, but I've got about 65 hours, 70 hours into this review. So, I mean, when you add that up, you're not really doing it because you're getting ahead financially. You're doing it because you love the hobby and you want to share what you're doing with the other guys out there that love the hobby as well.
And if you're like me and you've been reviewing for 17 years, and then one day you build a plane and don't build it for a review, you then realize, hey man, this is easy.
It goes together much quicker, doesn't it?
Yes.
Sure does.
The other thing I want to say, I'm going to soapbox a little bit, is I understand influencers get huge views and it's eye candy, it's lunch fodder, and that's cool. I get that. But if you're about to buy a plane, I think it's important to know as many things as you can before you lay down your cash. And then we were talking about CGs. I've been at events with a plane I haven't flown in 2 years where I literally pull the phone up and go, what battery am I using? What's my CG on the actual review I built, so it's handy.
Go ahead, let's go.
I'll turn it down.
Well, I was going to say, just, getting into reviews, my first review was a Great Plains Fandango, and it was a build. The stuff that we're doing now goes together really quickly. And even though it goes together quickly, it's still a 65 or 70 hour review. The first plane I mentioned, again, the Fandango, I had over 100 hours putting that thing together and doing everything, because you got a box of sticks and you had to build it. So and there's a lot of airframes that are like that. So.
Well, and then the other part of this is I could do a review by myself. Sorry, everyone. Let me get.
You still there? Did we lose him?
There we go. Yeah. Now, sometimes if I get the cursor on the video, it'll mess up the stream. But we can get a plane, unbox it, shoot all the parts, the build, all the things you need to know in the build. But finding someone to actually shoot a video of you flying the plane is sometimes the hardest part of the whole thing.
It really is. And also the in-air flight photos. It's tough. So for this review, which was one of the first, shot it in HD at a higher rate so that I could pull the pictures, the flight pictures from the actual video. And
did that work?
It did work. They're not as great as they would be, obviously, if you're using a DSLR or something like that. But they actually came out well enough to use in the review. So that was one thing I was worried about. And again, like you mentioned, getting people that know how to work a camera and get things into view is not easy. And for this video here, my wife shot the video, and at first, she was just trying to gauge, like, basically shooting an airplane in the air. But after a while, she got it down, and the video came out pretty good.
Yeah. For those who may want to know, what video camera was that recorded with?
This is a Sony AX53, and it seems to be a pretty popular camera these days. I've had the camera for about, I want to say maybe 5 years now. I originally bought the camera to shoot my son's soccer games, and then just started using it for the videos, and it works really well.
And how do you handle focus? Do you put it on infinity and leave it there? Do you let it try to auto? Yeah,
we let everything go auto, actually, and it does really well. The problem with doing reviews in the middle of winter, as you can see with this video, is a silver airplane in a really kind of gray sky. Yeah, and it will lose focus. So the camera does much better in bright skies, obviously, but you know, again, a silver airplane in a kind of a silver gray sky, and it'll lose focus here every once in a while.
Not to keep harping back to Hobby Lobby, but as a reviewer, I would love to have invited you to see the process of not only the studio for the build where we took photos, but then it's the first day I went to work for them. They put me out on the field with a video camera, and Mike Hines said, "Let's see how you do." And you know, it's like yoga because it's up and down. You got to keep it within the frame set. I like to zoom in sometimes, but if you do that, then you might fly out of frame. Then you've got to recapture it in the frame. And then you got to hand it over to a guy like Mike Hines, who is going to be real critical of your work. But then we had Kevin Butts taking photos. And the number one rule was not to fly it without videotaping it, because you don't want to crash it on the maiden and then you have nothing. Right.
I do have a 15-minute stretch routine that I can send to anybody that's interested to get ready for the camera.
All right, Jim, you mentioned Hobby Lobby Hines a couple of times. So first time I met Mike and Jason in person was at eJets. So I'm also one of the co-CDs of eJets International, now eJets and eWarbirds. And Jason and Mike came to the first eJets in 2008. Now, we had already become friends before that online, because when Jason was at Hobby Lobby, he was sending me reviews to do for Hobby Lobby. So I had done the Freewing SU-34 for Hobby Lobby, the Executive Jet. I did the Demona and another race or something else. So at that point, I was working with Jason when he was at Hobby Lobby, and he was sending me reviews back then.
Yep, man. Awesome. Yeah, it goes way back, doesn't it?
Yep.
That's great. And just this week, we were watching videos from Horizon with people that were on the Hobby Lobby team back in the. So we were all together in one unit, and you know, still in the hobby, still in the industry, and everyone's kind of in their corner. Well, Kevin, is there anything you would say to a new pilot? I always have one tip I'll give. Do you have a tip you'd give to somebody who was heading out to the field for the first time?
A tip for a new pilot. If you can, get with somebody who's already got experience, and don't overthink it. Don't try to get that airplane that you like because it's cool. Start with actually something that's a trainer, and kind of work your way up from there. You know, as I mentioned early on, I started with a glider. I think that's a great place to start. Just get the feel for how things work, and the reaction's slow. It's kind of hard to get yourself into trouble with a glider. And I have recommended gliders to a few other people that have gotten into the hobby, that wanted to get into the hobby, and just kind of build your orientation, you know, especially, you know, that first time that you're flying by yourself and you turn that airplane towards you, you know, and if you have a glider in your hands, you got a little bit usually better reaction time that you kind of correct if you go the wrong way. So take your time, don't overthink it. Don't try to get too far ahead of yourself and get an airframe that is not don't go for a jet, don't go for a scale airplane. Just, you know, start with a trainer and work your way up from there.
I say get an Aero Scout.
Yep, that works.
Great entry level. I'm going to give two tips. The first tip is David Payne told me that when he first started flying RC, his dad said to push, and David Payne said this to me, push the stick in a direction, and if the plane doesn't go the way you want, push it in the other direction. Right. And at the time I thought, what are you talking? That's what? But that was his thing. My thing is never give up on a plane. If you think your plane is crashing, don't ever give up. And I've had really expensive big planes and death spins. Yeah. And I remember, I think Bryce Custer told me that, never give up. And I'm talking on the deck, I realized that I had not pushed the throttle forward. I was zero throttle trying to get it out of the spin. And when my brain said throttle, I hit it, and that dang thing flew right off the deck and saved me so much money.
Wow. Nice.
So never give up.
Don't ever give up.
Well, man, we sure appreciate all the hard work you've done over the years, not only for RC Groups, but for all the modelers out there and who are in love with certain planes and need that information. So thank you so much on behalf of us and the hobby.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And, I enjoy doing the reviews for RC Groups. So hopefully we can continue to do that.
Heck
yeah, man. We'll talk soon, dude.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
All right. It's been Kevin Petrilla from RC Groups. He's a reviewer, and maybe the next review, we'll bring you back on and we'll talk about the next plane that you do.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. All right, everyone, we're about to do the RC news for the end of the week. Not by to y'all, by to Kevin. That was awesome.
He's a good guy. Yep.
Well, it takes so many skill sets to be a reviewer. And if that's something that you aspire to, you can learn from guys like that. And if you really want to do it, Jason, I don't want to be putting people on your tail here, but how are we looking? Are we good with reviewers right now? Do we always need different reviewers?
Yeah, we could always, if anybody's interested, you can send me a PM on RC Groups, and we can talk about it. And then speaking of old time people, I'm actually having lunch tomorrow with Dave Barron.
Wow. No way.
Yeah. Are you interested? You want to come with us?
Tomorrow is Saturday. I'm not sure what's happening, but I believe I have a knife that Dave gave me. I've
got the Hobby Lobby engraved knife from Dave way back.
Tell him I still have my my blade. I have not lost it. It's my favorite knife, and I carry it to special occasions.
There you go. Yeah,
and usually events too, which is the most dangerous place to carry a knife. All right, everyone, let's jump into the RC news of the week, and there are actually some big stories. Let's get to it.
Booyah!
All right, will we go in order? Yes, we'll go with the blog of the week.
Do it.
Jason?
Yeah. So yeah. Blog of the week. I am promoting kit building apparently these last few weeks. Go find a kit, build it. It's fun. You might actually enjoy it if you've never done it before. But so this guy is using his blog to kind of document his progress and post it for people. So it's really cool to go see, how a kit's built, and then you can have that record for when you want to look back on what you've done. It's all there.
Kevin, I've added you. I saw that you were still around, so you're now part of the news team.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Okay. So that is the kit of the week, or the blog of the week, maybe the kit of the week. Maybe that'll be your new thing. This is maybe the biggest news of the last day or so. Andrew Jesky and I was talking to Scott over at AJ Aircraft, and I was like, we should do some interviews or something. And so this popped up yesterday. I was headed out the door and I saw this. And so I thought I have to show this. It's an overview of the 51 Slick, and the original. This is a plane that's been around for a while, but this is the updated version. We'll just show a little piece of this. Okay.
Everyone, trying something new for 2024. I know everybody's kind of been wondering what's going on with AJ Aircraft, but one of my resolutions for 2024 was to come up with a little bit more social media engagement as well as some videos for you guys. Right in front of me, you can see we got the new 51-inch Slick. Kind of wanted to discuss a few of the things that we have changed on this. First thing you can see is the color scheme.
I'm going to stop it right there. The full video is in this feature article. And then what I did is I watched the video and made some notes. So you can see some highlights here. We talk about the wing beam move back, motor changes, can run on a 6S pack. There's a whole new rudder in the tail option. And there's also new trim schemes. Hopefully
it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah. And the interesting part here is, there's plane releases and there's videos and things like that. He actually talks about the process, why and how. So,
yeah. But the real question is, what does the AJ stand for in AJ Aircraft?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm joking.
Okay. But the reaction to this on the video has been huge. So evidently everyone cared. Great work, AJ.
Super pumped. Yep.
And right along, like that could have been all the news that we needed. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. That's good. Okay, so the Micro Draco released on Thursday, and this is Mike Patey, who designed the full scale. And so I have a couple of videos, and then he seems very excited about this. And here's some photos.
Yeah, I might have to own one of these.
The price point is really good. And Jason and I did a reaction video where we actually, let me turn the volume down. Hey, everyone. So we go through and we talk about the bird, and then we review the videos. There's man we were just talking about, David Payne. And a little size reference between the larger Draco and the new Micro Draco. And there's a lot of things to talk about. It's just an awesome plane. Let's get to the where should we go here? I want to show you one thing. The articulated landing gear.
Yeah, it's so cool.
There it is. So check
it's not like it's
out.
new, but just the fact that they added that to, something that small. It's awesome.
Now I see a spring. Let me pause it. Oh, I think we're past it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the spring right here. Okay. This makes me think that the spring's actually doing the articulation and these guys are maybe just moving visually.
No, those better be full oil filled
Yes.
shocks, like with adjustments for rebound and compression. I want it all.
When somebody orders this and has it, please post and let us know what the deal is. But that just dropped. Did you see if it was available, if it was in stock?
I think it's later this month. I think it's basically a pre-order.
Okay. Largest RC event in Switzerland. I wonder if there's going to be event coverage of this that I can
This is
check
a
out.
killer. It's just a killer video. It's basically only takeoffs and landings of, like Joe Nall. This is like Joe Nall in Europe. Like, it's amazing. But it was just such a good video.
I usually try to do takeoff and landing videos of the reviews that I do also. And those are the videos that get more views than even the full review videos.
Yeah, right. Isn't
Every
that
time.
interesting? I guess it is the most important hardest part of every flight, right? Taking off and landing.
That thing is huge.
It's awesome.
Did you see how big it was next to the person that it taxied out next to?
Right?
That's crazy.
Scale gear going up, just amazing. So it's like I don't know, 45 minutes of just cool aircraft taking off and landing.
Have you ever done helicopters, Kevin?
I have. I noticed the turbine take off first. So I've got 3 turbines myself, and I really enjoy the turbines. I did helicopters early on. The first one I had was fixed pitch, then moved on after that, but I never got past number 2. I did have just, something I could fly in the house when it was windy or winter.
Right.
So I had just something like that, but I never really got into helicopters after that. Just went back to jets and started with turbines and been flying turbines and electrics since.
Got it. I flew them at Hobby Lobby. We used to fly them at the end of the day at 5. We would start flying through the aisles, and whoever could get all the way through the warehouse was the winner. I don't know if I ever won.
The Piccolo days. That's right.
I had mine for a long time. What the heck, Wednesday? I haven't looked at this.
Dude, this is awesome. Apparently this has been a thing for a while, but I'm not a giant boat guy, so maybe I just never seen it. But
it's
yes,
a fan favorite.
An RC boat does work on the snow. Could you believe it?
Wow. I've never seen that.
Can't do it with a V-hole. I learned this from the video because the V-hole pushes the snow away from the prop. But the catamarans, leave the snow in the middle for the prop to be able to go through and actually get some bite.
Okay.
So I'd throw in a rooster tail of snow and everything. It's so cool.
I guess nothing cares. It's a water-based vehicle, so snow is fine.
We don't get enough snow here to really try it out, but man,
FPV snowboating.
Yeah, and I can't believe how much speed they're getting. Like, he's getting air off of a jump. Like, it's crazy.
Is this the same thing over and over again?
Oh, and he crashed into a tree.
This is my boat.
So this is the What the Heck Wednesday part. Crashing into a tree, bust up your boat. Ooh, almost right there.
Oh no, we're not going to show you the tree crash. You got to go watch it. It's right here. What the heck Wednesday? RC snowboating. Never heard of it. I love it. Hey, I have been in talks with the fine folks at Legend Hobby who create tons of scale airplanes, and they have builders. And we're working on a way for them to do build threads on Flying Giants. Where's this living?
Cool.
This is on RC Groups, but I also have a thread on Flying Giants. And this is the first sort of build thread. I pulled this together for them just to show them what we could do. But what we're doing is working with pilots that work with Legend Hobby so that they can create ongoing build threads in the Legend section on Flying Giants. So keep your eyes open.
Build threads are popular. I've done, I did a Super Decathlon, the 55-inch build thread on RC Groups. And it took a while for it to take off, but then it really took off. And the good thing is, the first couple of posts that I made were the build with, the CG and the throws and all that stuff. And I've heard from other people that they still refer back to that for some of that information.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beauty of a forum. I know there's a lot of sex appeal for other social sites, but those sites are never going to help you when you're in trouble and you need some information, like with a quick search. And that is where RC Groups comes in. And that's why threads like these, after a year or two, will have 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 views. Hobby King's having a sale. Is it still on? I don't know. Let's go see.
It's still winter.
It is. Well, it's going to be 63 today, but that doesn't mean it's not winter. Let's just, you can't see what I'm looking at. Yes, the sale is still on. And I'll go screenshot some of the highlights that might appeal to folks on the site, just so you can see what the deals are and what they're selling. You can check that out. And I've also been talking to Stuart from Hobby King. Kevin, there's some interesting news. I don't know if Jason shared it with anyone in the review side of things, but we are scheduled to be reviewing, if not most of the Hobby King products that come out this year. And I hear, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking if I'm talking out of turn, I'm pretty sure I can say that they have a ton of new planes on the runway for the year, so it should be exciting.
Yeah, I saw when
Tyler
you guys
Perry
talked about they picked up some of the X-Fly jets.
Yes, they have a lot of stuff. It's coming out. So I know about Tyler's RC fascination from him going to Joe Nall at least 1 year.
Yeah, Joe and Seth. Yeah, he came down and bought a bunch of planes from Hobby Lobby and other vendors at Seth. But yeah, he's a famous director, actor, movie star, whatever, Hollywood guy. But he also is an RC nut too. He loves this stuff. So Ramy RC, he's got a big YouTube channel as well. But he builds crazy cool airplanes, and so he's building this giant C-17 at Tyler Perry's place in Georgia. In his hangar, like build room.
There's the hangar.
And they're like 3D printing custom molds to lay carbon fiber to build this thing. It's like, just amazing what they're doing to build this, put this together. It is electric. It's EDF.
Wow.
All of Tyler's big jets are EDF. In one of his videos, if you go through one of his video collection, he talks about why he doesn't use turbines, basically because of the land and a few other things around where he's at. But all his big jets like this are all electric. Yeah.
Yeah. And that blue, I don't know if it's that one, but Mike, there's a plane in there that Mike Hines actually built for Tyler last year. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And also rcplanestands.com, who is an advertiser, he got with me and he was talking about a celebrity, and he wouldn't tell me who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Tyler Perry that was buying like crazy amounts of these stands from him.
Yeah.
So I want to tell a Tyler Perry story. I'm not going to tell who told me this story. This isn't bad. But this person was hired by Tyler just to man his RC airplanes. He worked full-time there in the shop. And he said when Tyler wanted to fly, which could be at any moment, he could be like, I'll be down there in 3 minutes. He had to not only have a plane ready, he had to have multiple planes ready. And whatever plane he wanted to fly first, when he got there, would be in the air. Tyler would then take the transmitter, fly till he got bored, and hand it off. And then he would have the other plane in the air. There must be 2 people involved here. But Tyler never landed. Now, this could all be wrong. Please don't quote me. It's only a story I was telling. he never landed or took off. He only would take control of planes that were already in the sky, and then he would fly 3 or 4 planes this way, and then it would be over for the day, and that's how it was.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, if that's a wild myth, well, you got to make the myths.
He's definitely flying his own planes now. If you see some of his videos.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? To have your own like RC butler guy to manage and take care of your stuff and have it ready for you at any time.
And the runway's right in his backyard, right there at his house. So he just get your stuff together and just head out in the backyard.
I don't think it was inability or skill. I think he just wanted to fly as many planes as possible in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
While producing a huge shipment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, Jason.
Hey, you know me and 3D printing. So this is another 3D printed, kind of slope soaring sailplane. And I think it's cool because it's a pitcher-on. You don't hear that word a lot, but there's no ailerons. It's, usually sometimes no elevator, depends on the plane, but the wing rotates and tilts to create roll and sometimes elevator control as well.
Okay. Yes.
But so it's just a unique design, interesting, but simple, right? Too. There's no control surfaces or hinges that are needed. So it's pretty slick and great for soaring sailplanes. One of the coolest planes I ever saw back when I was learning to fly was a pitcher-on plane. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a composite, really high dollar, expensive thing. And he was sitting there and able to do like crazy flat spins, really flat.
This would be for like 3D planes. This would make a lot of sense. Get really high alpha.
And so the other interesting thing, this is cool that what you were just seeing when the wing was waggling back and forth. This is, I got to see how it works, but it's a custom program that somebody coded to automatically do that wing waggling stuff to function as air brakes.
Oh, so it waggles to a stop
to slow the plane down, like coming in for a landing, like you would use flaps, but this doesn't have flaps, obviously. So it was, they custom coded this program to be able to do that function to make it slow down. I don't know how it works. I don't understand the aerodynamics behind it, but that's the claim. Good on them. I want to see how it works. Pretty cool.
Very interesting. That is the Flipper Part 2. If you want to search that up. Also down below, I'll have a link so you can go check this stuff out. On Monday, I'll do a full article on everything. This is over. You missed it. It's the Gator RC Valentine's deal. They were having tons of deals, not only on planes, but also on Gator RC specific stock. We had them on the news last week, and they talked about not only the planes that they sell, but also all the things they carry just as a company. I don't know how they keep up with it. Ashley is a wonder, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Now, there were some other things I was going to show us this week, but I want to make sure that it's okay with YouTube to share some of the videos I want to share. I feel like we've had enough big news, and let me jump over here. I think that's it. Jason, you got any news that you don't know? That
cool. That's pretty much it for me this week.
Kevin, listen, man, I'm always looking for a third party in the news. More input is good input. So in the future, if you want to jump on with this, just let me know.
Absolutely. Let me know. I didn't mean to jump back on. I was just kind of hanging out in the back watching you guys, and I didn't know I was going to get some more time there.
Every broadcast that someone invites me on, I always stay. I never leave, and I feel like I'm being a weirdo. But and then when I'm not calling you a weirdo. When I saw you there, I'm like, yeah, let's bring him back. That'd be awesome. So thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. This has been the RC Group's RC News of the Week. Jim T. Graham, Jason Cole, Kevin Petrilla. But I want to roll those L's. Petrilla. Yes,
that's it.
Sorry. And I can say it's Friday because this video is going to go live today, and I don't have to worry about what day it is. So if you like it, hit subscribe. Every week we're getting more and more views, and the whole channel's starting to blow up. So awesome. Thanks, everyone. Bye, y'all.
See ya.